states plan to reopen, many businesses are now coming up with strategies and new workplace procedures. Joining us now to discuss what lies ahead is Scott Gerber. He is the CEO of the Gerber Group. Scott, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The Gerber name is synonymous with nightlife, certainly in New York City and other major cities around the country. How are you dealing with this crisis? I also understand you are recovering yourself from coronavirus. So tell us how you're doing personally.
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, my voice is a little, breathy these days, but I feel pretty good. I can work out. I've gotten over it. I mean, for me, I had a fever for about 2 days. It felt like somebody was sitting on my chest for about 10 days. But I've recovered. My wife was in bed for 2 weeks. She's fortunately recovered, and all three of my kids had symptoms, and they've recovered. So health-wise, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. So what about your business? What happens to your restaurants and your bars?
Well, it's a really good question. When the governor announced that we had to shut down all of our places, we did that on Monday. We had to lay off all of our employees, which was close to 400 people. And now, we were able to conserve some cash, and we're really just waiting for some guidance and, trying to figure out when we're going to be able to reopen, what the business levels are going to look like. It's really difficult to plan for that because you just don't know how to staff. You don't know, how many people are going to come back. You don't know if there's going to be, occupancies that are cut in half and if there's going to be 6 feet of social distancing. So, it's pretty difficult.
Did you apply for the PPP?
We did apply for the PPP, and we did get the PPP. But I think the problem for restaurants is that, if you have a business that is still open and your business is being impacted, but you still have employees, then the PPP is great because it helps you pay for your employees. For us, if we don't have any bars and restaurants that are open, we are not permitted to reopen. So for us, if we took the money and spent it paying our employees for the next 8 weeks and paying some rent and utilities, then when it came time for us to reopen, we would have no funds to be able to help the business. And we're not expecting the business to snap back to 100% of what our business was. So what we're hoping is that they will change the guidelines, that the government will change the guidelines and allow us to use these funds for when we do reopen, and then we'll be able to keep people employed. At this point, we'd basically be paying our employees for 8 weeks, and then they'd be back on unemployment potentially in 8 weeks.
Talked to so many restaurateurs over the last many weeks about the struggles that they're going through in New York and elsewhere. What about the bar of the future on the other side of this? What is a bar going to look like, and how are you regulating how many people come in? Are you thinking about that sort of thing now?
Yeah, we are thinking about it, and truthfully, we just don't know. We don't know what the regulations will be. I mean, look, until we understand if there's going to be a vaccine for this or that it's going to be just like getting the flu without people dying, it's going to be very difficult. I think people's social habits will change. Listen, we're social animals, and people are going to come back to bars. We're confident of that. I know that you had, Dr. Gottlieb on before, who was saying something to the effect of that, maybe it's safer to be outside. And fortunately for us, we have a lot of rooftop bars. So, we're hoping that people will come back and support us. But we really don't know. We don't know if we're going to have 200 people, in the Campbell at Grand Central Terminal on their way commuting home. It's really an unknown.
We had Hugh Acheson on earlier, acclaimed chef down in Georgia. He was against the governor's decision to open up some of the businesses that are opening up on Friday and Monday. How do you think about the sort of the balance of wanting to get back to work, wanting to give your employees a place to come back to, but also having to err extremely on the side of caution?
It's a very, very difficult balance. And, we have a property in Atlanta as well, and we were not opening come Monday or whenever the governor said we could. Our staff is, the most important thing to us, and their safety is what's most important. And they're not comfortable going back to work yet. So, but it's a very delicate balance. I mean, a lot of our properties are in hotels. The hotels will be reopening, hopefully come June or July. And we need to be there to, help support the hotels. And I think people are really wanting to get back to work. And at some point, we have to start the economy, but we have to be safe about it. And we have to be smart about it. And we have to trust, the scientists and the doctors that are telling us the way to do this. Because we don't want to have it bounce back, and we don't want it to come back and all of a sudden have it worse than it is today. I mean, it's a terrible virus, and we've all known people that have passed away from this thing, and it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, we're thinking about your industry tonight. We wish you well. Scott, thanks for the time tonight.